innovators themselves and what they do when it goes for creating green innovations and supporting green jobs. And this is a very important topic. Right now, we are not only dealing with pandemics, but also with the persistent climate change challenge and transforming economies towards technological innovations and sustainability can offer youth more opportunities for employment in the future, and youth themselves can shape how the future is going to look like and how the green jobs of the future is going to look like. So I don't want to take more time. I would like to introduce our speakers. Carmen, I'm going to start with Carmen Reynoso, Unit Manager Equal Rights for All from Oxfam Novib. Then Khalid Hossain, so Program Coordinator for Bangladesh Country Office of International Union for Conservation of Nature, but here representing Climate's Smart Village project of Oxfam Novib. Olivia Onyam-Mobi, the CEO of Nigerian company Padap Creation. Kanika Verma, Program Director of Development Alternatives here, representing Work for Progress platform and project of Caixa Foundation. And Dorcas Asige Apore, CEO of Advocacy for Social Inclusion and Girls Education from Ghana, and also Solutions for Youth Employment Youth Advisory Group, a member. So I'm going to give the voice back to our speakers, and we're going to start with Carmen. Carmen, I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that you can share your presentation.
Do you see it?
Yes, if you could just put it, yeah.
It's in a slide, it's big.
No, you have to press the button.
Yeah, no, I'm pressing. Yeah, now I think it's okay, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and apologies for the technology. I'm not very handy with it, so I'm trying my best. But I thank you for the invitation, and I will just give a very, hopefully brief introduction, because I think we are here to learn from the cases and the projects themselves. So I will just go very quickly to a presentation of Oxfam Novib and the youth empowerment approach and program that we have and the experiences we are sharing here with you. So just to give you a bit background of Oxfam Novib, is a Dutch platform promoting international social justice. Our core values of empowerment, inclusion, and accountability strongly are embedded in feminist principles. That are the basis of our work, everything that we do. And they sustain our belief that in order to achieve social justice, we need to address the interrelated global injustices of extreme poverty, inequality, the impact of climate change, and the denying of people's rights and civic freedoms. When we work with young people and for young people, we envision that youth as active citizens who will have the agency to decide for themselves, shape their future, and and drive the change that we are looking for. Where we aim at, when we design and implement together with young people our programs and projects and the examples that we will share with you, we want to activate a progressive and long-term social change that will result in just economies, gender justice, climate justice, and accountable governance. To achieve that, which is not an easy task, as you well know, we have identified 3 interconnected and interrelated pathways of change. And that is the visual, a small visual that you have in front of you. So this complementary pathway of change will permit to achieve the empowerment youth on their own. These 3 pathways of change, I will just give a very brief description, is the social change pathway, where we believe that young people connect with each other in an inclusive way, develop joint agendas, so they come together, develop joint agendas, and strengthen their collective actions for change. So it's the power of bringing young people together. That's our pathway of change regarding social level. Then we have the economic change. We believe that young people have access to common public goods and can shape economic systems that promote just and sustainable world. That's our second pathway of change. And the last one, but not less important, the political change. We believe young people participate in formal and informal decision-making spaces, especially in issues related and influencing directly the lives of young people. Of course, we have cross-cutting elements or cross-cutting aspects that all our programs consider, and that is innovation and co-creation. The co-creation aspect is, of course, our basis of the principle of nothing about us without us. We believe in flexibility and the youth-led approach. Youth know better what is good for them, what they want to do, and they define their own narratives and approaches. And of course, key elements in our programming is climate change and gender. This is a small introduction. Will be better explained on the cases, but I want to give you an overview of the two programs from which one case per program is going to be shown to you later in the presentation. But the first program that lives to the principles and approach that I just described is Work in Progress. So in Work in Progress, it's a program of currently in its second phase from 2020 to 2023. There was a first phase 2016 to 2019, and the objective is that more young men and women are able to generate sustainable living wages and they are optimistic about their future. We implement the program in 3 countries: Egypt, Nigeria, and Somalia. And the example that we will share with you later on is from Nigeria. The budget is 21 million euros. We receive support from the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And some of the key results in 2020, just to share with you some of them, is that we supported 174 enterprises. We assisted 1,632 young people, 520 of them were women, to find jobs. And we support 334 young people to initiate income-generating activities. But you will hear more on the case later on. The second program that I want to share with you is the Empowered Youth for Work. It's a program for 5.5 years. It's ending at the end of this year, so 2016-2021. It's implemented in 4 countries: Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Pakistan. It's an 18 million euro program supported by the IKEA Foundation. And its main objective is to enable social and economic empowerment of young people in rural climate-affected areas. Just also key results, we have reached over 170,000 young directly and over 831,000 indirectly. And just to a bit of an announcement, please do save the date. We are organizing a symposium to share with you and other people interested, all the learnings, experiences, and a lot of innovation ideas that we have developed together with young people within this program. It's the 14th and 15th of September, and please be welcome to reach out to us for more information on how to attend that meeting and that symposium, sorry. And the last slide is just to give a presentation of the 2 cases that we will share with you today. The first one is the Youth Build and a small village in Bangladesh. This is part of the Empower Youth for Work program. And the second case is youth-led SME or small medium enterprise, up creations in Nigeria, and it's part of the Work in Progress program. So I think I will stop there because it's more important for you to hear from the cases. Thank you so much.
So now we're gonna hear from Khalid Hussain. In the meantime, so Khalid, try to share your presentation if you can. In the meantime, I wanted just to invite you all to put your questions in the chat. There's gonna be a time at the end of the session to address any questions. I'm gonna direct them to the speakers. So please share them in the chat. Khalid, if you click on the button at the bottom, the screen button at the bottom.
I didn't unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Do you want? Yes, but we cannot see the presentation for a moment. Okay, this is it.
I guess
Fantastic.
It's okay now. Yeah. I would not turn on my video now, maybe later. So welcome everyone to this presentation on youth-led climate smart village, a pilot which we initiated, although I currently work for IUCN, but when this pilot started, I was working for Oxfam, just to clarify things. As some of you may know, but to give you the background, like in which background we started this pilot, as many of you know, Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economies in the world at the moment. And our per capita income has almost tripled in the last 10 years. So it's aiming to be a developed country by 2041 and already in a developing country as declared by major agencies. But at the same time, the country still has a large population living under extreme poverty and vulnerability due to climate change. Just when we are talking, a major cyclone has crossed Indian border, which could even hit Bangladesh. Like same time last year, we had a major cyclone. So it is kind of a regular phenomena in this part of the world. And that's why whenever we talk about climate change, it is not just reducing climate change impact or climate change mitigation, but climate change adaptation is always important. But at the same time, when you talk about rapid economic development, you may follow the old path of development and may end up doing the same kind of environmentally destructive activities. So mitigation is also important here. Then if we look at the demographic dividend of Bangladesh, it's a young country, obviously. So more than 1/3 of the population is youth. So 18 to 35, that's the youth population is declared by the government of Bangladesh. They are youth, and the working population is also 2/3 of the entire population. So we would enjoy this demographic dividend for the next 20 years or so. So whenever we talk about green jobs in Bangladesh context, it is not just climate change mitigation, because in some countries, it is mostly about reducing environmental footprint. But in Bangladesh, when you talk about green jobs, you also need to link that with climate change adaptation, like how economic opportunities, entrepreneurship, or jobs can contribute in climate change adaptation or reducing the vulnerability or adapting to the climate change impacts. So in that context, when we initiated this youth-led climate smart village as an approach, just to see like through a pilot, we followed 5 key steps. So we tried to see the whole thing holistically, which Carmen also indicated in her presentation, like through Empower Youth for Work project. So we have seen different initiatives are just focusing on, creating economic opportunities, linking that with climate smart practice, but not looking at other enabling environment perspectives. So that's why we first put importance on building youth leadership and developing their organization in climate vulnerable areas, and then developing their knowledge on climate change adaptation, mitigation, different practices. So at first they become ready to take it. And then we have also seen that when youth want to do something, they need an enabling environment. They're in the surrounding, also at policy level, like what government is doing, what other agencies are doing. So we also had that approach, like creating large-scale behavioral change and community-level practice, which can support adaptation and mitigation, as well as linking them with government and other agencies for adaptation and mitigation, and doing those things, and then linking that with creating sustained economic opportunities around climate smart practice for youth. That was added with the whole approach. So the pilot we did, it is in the southwestern coastal area of Bangladesh. So as you can see, the Bangladesh map, the Empower Work project was mostly implemented in the western part, the two western, northwestern division, Rajshahi, Rangpur, and the one southwestern division, Khulna, and another mid-coast division, Barishal. So these all divisions were are climate vulnerable divisions. That's why Empower Youth for Work project chose those locations. As Carmen indicated, the project background was related to that. But Khulna division, and especially this location, the Gangarampur village I'm talking about, it is near to the world's largest mangrove forest, Sundarban, which is also facing different challenges. So that's why it is chosen, and it has some other perspectives which I have indicated. This area frequently face cyclones. There is a heavy dependency on agriculture and fisheries, but there is a acute shortage of drinking and irrigation water due to high salinity, which have subsequent health impact, especially on women in the area. And 90% of the inhabitants, they use biomass for the source of cooking, so having impact on the forestry. And then there is also emission from livestock, other agricultural practices, and waste generated. So we started working in that background in Gangarampur. So this is a bit messy, but I would try to explain. So the pilot which we started, it followed a human-centered design, which Empower Youth for Work project followed. And then Carmen also indicated that nothing about us without us, having that feminist principle. Like whenever we talk about young people having a youth-centric design approach. So when we went to the village, we first had that sort of inception, like we introduced the idea, we heard from the young people. The second stage, we created the design with them, and then at the moment it is at the delivery phase, the fourth phase, and then the scale up may happen, may not happen during this project period, but in other locations, people can scale that up. So that would be later. And I would not explain this diagram, which was created like in the third step with young people, like what could be the design of this youth-led climate smart village. So if you see the circle, the second circle, through the design, they came up with like what can be done in agriculture, what can be done in water, what can be done in terms of energy, disaster, climate action. So they designed the whole thing, and this was the kind of the result came up. And you can see some of the pictures while they did that. So I would quickly go into the results. So through this pilot, so far the results which we have seen, one is young people's leadership in I would say in management structure. So they created different committees when we talk about different areas of climate action. They created different committees, they mobilized other local youth, they created awareness. So one is related to their leadership in different structure. Then new technologies which were not available in that area. Those technologies were prototyped. I would not go in detail into it. Maybe we can discuss later. They, kind of demanded climate justice. They tried to engage themselves with the global movement. As we know, young people are now demanding climate justice around the world. So they tried to be part of the global youth community. And then they also, tried to co-create business, like with the partner organization, with the government, with other agencies. So they initially co-created 10 businesses. Maybe we can discuss later if we have time. And the learning we have from this pilot so far, I would cluster that in three different groups. So first one is around youth leadership. So we saw that youth leadership needs to be developed at all level when we talk about this sort of green jobs, youth-led green jobs. One is like you need to create the leadership in knowledge generation and sharing. They need to take community level action. They need to be empowered at that level. They need to know how to develop and manage their own organization, really important. And they also need to know how to claim service from the government and other agencies for create sustainable solutions. So they can't just do things by their own. And then the second layer is like, we also had learning around long-term and scale-up challenges. It's not like a very happy story. One thing is about creating motivation for youth in a climate vulnerable condition. That is very challenging in a country like Bangladesh. You create their motivation, then another cyclone comes, salinity is still increasing. So they see like they're trying to do something, but it is not sustainable because of climate change impacts. So adaptation has a limit. So we need to consider that context. You can't really, always create motivation to continue your global action. And the leadership succession, young people, they're graduating. So there is sometimes a leadership gap. You need to have the exercise continuously. And then the prevailing gender and social norms, we often see that, okay, the leadership, it was pretty much by the young men, but there were encouraging results that young women, they also came up. But when you talk about a scale up in some parts of Bangladesh, it is challenging due to the gender and social norms. And finally, what works when we talk about youth innovation from green jobs, we found that in a country like Bangladesh, whenever we talk about green jobs, you need to demonstrate and health benefits, especially from the pilot we talked about. Just benefits, okay, it's good for the environment, green jobs is good environment, health. You need to link that with technology. You need to create linkage with government and private sector businesses, since NGOs, they are not there for forever. So other actors need to be engaged. So you need to establish the linkage, and initial joint investment is a must in this kind of location for green enterprise development. To start things, then if people see the results, they would gradually come up and you can exit. So I will stop there and would be happy to take questions later. Thank you.
Okay. So should I share, Khalid also asked me to share the video, a very short video. So I'm gonna
please, yeah.
try to do it now.
Since we could not bring young people from the area, this kind of bring their voice in a brief manner.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's see if we can.
আমি অলকার ভার্মি কম্পোস্ট উৎপাদনের ব্যবসার সাথে জড়িত। আমি EIW প্রকল্প থেকে ভার্মি কম্পোস্টের উপর প্রশিক্ষণ পাই। কম্পোস্ট উৎপাদন করা খুবই সহজ, কম খরচে করা যায় এবং পরিবেশ বান্ধব। আমি এলাকার অন্য নারীদের ভার্মি কম্পোস্ট উৎপাদনে প্রশিক্ষণ করাই। তারা অনেকে সার উৎপাদনের সাথে জড়িত। অতিরিক্ত সার বিক্রি করে ভালো দাম পাই, স্বাবলম্বী হই। আমি এই জলবায়ু বান্ধব গ্রামের একজন জলবায়ু বান্ধব নারী উদ্যোক্তা।
Okay, thank you. So may I ask now our next speaker, Olivia. Olivia, can you share your screen? Could you unmute yourself? Olivia, we lost this. Okay.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes, everything is fine. Perfect.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Olivia Onyemobi. I'm the founder of Paddock Creations Limited. So over 100 million people in Nigeria live below $1 every day. And this makes it difficult for the families to provide their girls with sanitary pads on a monthly basis. Most of the girls improvise using dry grasses, leaves, feathers, rags or foams to care for their period, exposing themselves to infections. And sometimes, most of them even skip school during their menstrual days. And this keeps them behind their male counterparts. So to solve the problem, we created a sustainable solution by making the washable and reusable sanitary pads, which can be reused for a minimum period of 1 year. The pads are designed to be leak-proof with high absorption and a snap that fastens it beneath the panties. So with this, we're able to put smile on these faces of these girls, which are over 2 million girls across 10 African countries. So to solve this problem, we knew that a lot of businesses have issues dealing with their staff. So we needed to get a visionary team that will understand what our sustainable solutions are. So we had to change the narrative. So we made sure that our staff dress very well to the office, and that gives them the confidence that they're working in a corporate organization, just like so many others. So many women do not get access to jobs and formal jobs because most employers will not want to give them maternity leave or childcare leave. So most women are left out of formal jobs, and some of them that are formal jobs will even quit their jobs when they get married. So we created a nanny room for these women to care for their toddlers while at work. While still changing the narratives, we solved the skill gap by advertising for unskilled workers. So many youth at the lower pyramid of education will not get job because most employers will place high criteria demanding several years of experience, making it difficult for them to meet up. So we advertise for unskilled workers and we'll use design thinking to solve the skill gap. So we make them take practical classes where it becomes easier for them to understand the company's policies and procedures. With that, we got a better result. From just 8 staff, we're able to create 103 permanent jobs. And that's beautiful. We were able to make a lot of impact, about 103 jobs created, over 2.5 distributed across 16 African countries. And among that, we are able to create over 17,000 micro sales points, meaning that over 17,000 women who distribute this product across 16 African countries can now earn a living wage by just selling this product. And we also earned the African Quality Achievement Award in April 2021. This product is the Nigeria's first certified reusable sanitary pads. In doing that, we also discovered that we have a lot of waste that are generated from our production. You can see the waste, how we are sorting it. But when we enrolled for Oxfam Circularity Program, we realized that there are easy ways to sort our waste. So we created the banner on the wall, ABC, making it easier for you to dump the waste appropriately. And with the waste, we're able to create home decors. You could see the home decors that we made for homes, and the bed are all from our waste. And you can see a happy customer that we're able to put our house in order. So we're also able to recycle our waste into educational toys, supporting homes and schools to be able to communicate to the pupils easily. Entrepreneurs suffer a lot of challenges from, especially in Africa, from generating their own power, creating their own security, paying multiple taxes, getting delays in getting certification, and a whole lot. To support entrepreneurs with funding, especially impact investment and blended finance, unrestricted grants, and low interest rates loan, more entrepreneurs will be able to scale up their businesses. Capacity building will also help to create opportunities for entrepreneurs and their team to grow their businesses through peer engagement, mentorship, and leadership development. Business support will also help them to get access to knowledge and tools required to sustain their businesses and also to scale their businesses. For instance, so many entrepreneurs do not even know some of the legal requirements, do not know a lot of accounting requirements in the country, but with access to business support, they will be able to get advice from people. And lastly, I believe that with visibility, entrepreneurs will be able to scale their businesses. Media featuring, sponsorship, and partnerships, keynote speaking, just like this program, can help create more visibility for entrepreneurs, and that will help them also to scale their businesses. You can see how we are creating a better world. We are empowering these women to distribute these products. They earn a living wage for their families. They're able to support their families, and we are also keeping these girls in school. So we can do better as we create a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. And I would like to remind everybody, please post your questions in the chat and we will address it in the question and answer session. Kanika.
Thanks, Kasia. I hope everyone can hear me clearly.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. So it's a pleasure to be here and share a little bit more about the work that we've done in the Work for Progress program and with a focus on youth-led entrepreneurship to create jobs. So Work for Progress is what we think, or we'd like to call, a pioneer program that is focused on action and innovation with a very strong tilt towards working with women and youth. Actually, not just women and youth, but the most marginalized women and youth, where we're trying to create not only quality jobs, enhancing income, but also focusing on meaning and dignity to whatever entrepreneurship initiatives are taking. So just to give you a slight background, Work for Progress program is supported by Kasha Foundation. It's one of the largest foundations in the world, focused on fairer and better societies with opportunities for the ones that need the most. 3 years ago in India, we started the Work for Progress program with the Kasha Foundation. And when we mean we mean, sorry, if someone can mute themselves. Yeah, thanks. We mean Development Alternatives, which has been committed for the last 35 years in India on sustainable development initiatives. So Work for Progress's unique methodology is designed to create what we call systemic change that leads to entrepreneurship and jobs. One of which, of course, starts with listening. Methodologies that actually, where you can listen to the communities, the system, and respond by co-creating the solutions with the community and the stakeholders in the ecosystem. And of course, prototyping them in real time, in real conditions. And the fourth aspect of it is, of course, accelerating with a very strong focus on learnings. I'm very happy to share a little bit of that with all of you. Started in India, it's now spread to Peru and Mozambique. And the Work for Progress program platform, of course, keeps growing. Because we're talking about youth entrepreneurship, I'd like to spend a little bit of time going over how the approach comes down to how we work with youth. I think Khalid had also spent a little bit of time emphasizing how hearing or listening is extremely important, and specifically with youth who feel a lot of times that their voices no one is really listening, they're stifled. Hence, listening with empathy becomes the foundation of any work that we're trying to do with youth in our program, along with focusing a lot on how some of the energies that they have, that they can be channeled into more peer-to-peer connect, and together collectively they can sort of create change in the communities themselves. The third aspect of it is not to focus so much on the problems or the issues, or the weaknesses, but focusing on aspirations. A farmer's son not necessarily wants to be a farmer himself. Hence, how do you, and in that sense, youth are also a mirror to the future of work, because their aspirations is going to actually design the future of work. Hence, the commitment that they have towards the community, along with the energy, is how can we sort of work together. Some wonderful examples, as you can see on the screen, but today I'm just going to spend a little bit of time talking about one of our models, which is the e-rickshaw model, which was co-created with young women in their communities who, and as I can see, I'll sort of show you the little bit of the journey, but I just, before I do that, had a very specific ask when they were designing these solutions, that they want that their children, their girls, their children have a better quality of life than they've had access to. And in that own journey, the confidence or the empowerment that happens internally is absolutely wonderful to sort of watch. And it's also interesting that the e-rickshaws are actually now in areas in these communities where for 1,000 kilometers you don't even see an e-rickshaw, and one run by a woman is something that's sort of a unique sight in that sense. So just a little bit of the journey that we took, or the process that we took to develop this particular model. There was a lot of conversation or dialogue with women on how mobility continues to be a constraint. I think most of you would be familiar with that, continues to be a constraint when it comes to finding their pathways for economic empowerment. Safety is another added, safety is another added component or an extension of that, along with, of course, concerns around the rise in pollution in areas where, we've actually never really had such kind of challenges. Hence, keeping all of these, we focused a lot on the strengths and a lot of what mobility actually meant for women, because of which we would focus a lot around leadership in the community, where mobility literally becomes sort of this vehicle for empowerment. We co-created the business model with the women. And of course, we were able to, focus on other kinds of linkages that came because of these e-rickshaws. Not only have they become local role models, so women have become local role models, but the linkages that I was referring to has actually been an interesting thing, that something that is actually renewable energy powered is now also helping in better, efficient access to linkages for the farmers, creating multiple benefits just out of one particular model. During the COVID pandemic, for example, they had literally become the pillars of mobility during the pandemic, when you couldn't even move around. So whether it's actually taking people, giving access to markets or to health centers, they literally were a source of strength for the community. One of the things that we were also able to see was that a lot of young women were focused on what it means for young girls in school. And I think Olivia talked a little bit about that as well. Keeping girls in school remains a very important challenge for the future of jobs as well. Hence, the group of women who run the e-rickshaws also decided to actually help young school-going girls to get safe transport to school, so that they don't drop off because of that particular reason. This is an example. This is a photograph of another young entrepreneur who actually turned, when she was 13, she had a passion for motorbikes, and because we could channel through those aspirations and through those latent energies, she's now been actually inspiring a lot of other women to do that. Some of them have won awards. The model has also, we've been fortunate that the model has won awards internationally, but for us, the most satisfying was the awards that the entrepreneurs received themselves. Just a little bit of a snapshot on how we see the pieces of work that we're doing with respect to green enterprises and jobs, and creating a platform literally for doing that, is just something that I wanted to show. So we've developed a hyper-local platform for young girls that is now being used to not only share knowledge, build solidarity, but also for unlocking ambition. So it's literally a window to their world beyond their village. They are now connected to an entrepreneur in Mumbai who can help them provide linkages and help them provide apprenticeship or different kinds of initiatives, so that they're not just restricted to the community. And I think the pandemic has been has in so many ways shown us that whatever we were thinking in terms of technology, we have to be 10x. Hence, our focus on youth always is that they're actually future forward and not sort of just in the traditional kind of space. So a lot of shared narratives are being built around that. So just a quick snapshot of the outcomes of the Work for Progress India program. The platform, of course, has many more outcomes. We've been able to support about 14-15 enterprises, created about 2950 jobs. Just a little bit on the learnings that we've had in terms of social innovation tools itself. It does require a lot of patience. It's a very slow start because you do spend a lot of time in deeply listening to the community, something that you would have missed. You used observations, ethnography, different kinds of tools. But once you start doing, there's an accelerated growth that happens. So it's almost like an inspiring chain of events where many kinds of enterprises that get established. And of course, we've already seen that we're able to decline the project costs because of the effort that we spent in co-creating the solutions and in listening to the youth voices. So I leave you with this, because this photograph for us actually symbolizes, youth, solidarity and the power of human connections, and something that we'd really like to channelize through social innovation, and create what we actually believe is not just one movement, but there are youth that are creating many of these micro movements. And our role in that sense is not only to nurture, to be able to unleash these micro movements, but also, of course, share it with global audience such as yours, so that we can now get those micro movements to travel to different places. So thank you so much. Sorry, I have to stop sharing. Yeah.
That was fantastic. Hi, everyone. My name is Namita Datta, and I'm Program Manager of Solutions for Youth Employment. And I've been listening to all three of you and been completely impressed with just the power of your examples. What was nice to hear was not just that these were initiatives around green jobs, but particularly that youth in all three of your examples are not simply beneficiaries, they are actually part of the solution. And that's what's really inspiring. So I had a quick question for...
We have
disturbance. Can I just request people to mute? Maybe Kasha, it's your microphone. Could you mute it, please, Kasha?
Yes, I just want to say that we have also a presentation from Dorcas.
I see. Sorry, then maybe I came in a little bit early, but I just wanted to put in a question for Khalid and Kanika, but maybe I'll come in later. But maybe over to you first, Dorcas.
All right. So
hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here, and thanks for the opportunity given to me. Next. Yes, for us to bring green jobs into reality, we have noticed that today many young people have taken several initiatives across the world. And it is so because we as youth consider our environment first when it comes to job creation. And our environment is such essential that we must conserve it as youth. Next. In Ghana, we have 52% of our population being women, and in my district, less than 2% of the 60,000 women that we have attained tertiary education. So, and children are left on them to take care of in the northern part of Ghana. So most of the women, sometimes they have to go for street hawking or they sit idle without doing anything. And ASIGE have taken the opportunity on that to empower women, especially the uneducated women, for them to also have skills so that they can get income to take care of themselves as well as their family and their children. Next. So what we do is that we use elephant grass called vetiver to weave eco-friendly product, that is basket. And these raw materials that we use are readily available at the market in Ghana here. And we plant them and some grow naturally. These grass are strong enough that they even prevent soil erosion and hence protect our environment. And our baskets, the reason why we went into basket is that it helps to replace rubber usage at homes and even at the shopping centers. Next. We have used this Vetavera to do over 20 different products. And our products are ranging from lamp shades, we have trays, placemats, hats, wine bottle holders, fans, pots, flower pots, ladies' bags, and so many of them. And our baskets are being sold locally in Ghana, as well as internationally in the US, in UK, in France, in Germany, in Japan, in Australia, and also on the pipeline to Turkey. So when you're in the UK, you can find them with Social. You just go Social and you are there. And we have employed over 429 women, of which 43 of these women are into tailoring and weaving. They are currently undergoing training. And these women have been able to get income from the baskets, of which they provide food for their families. And this helped them to reduce the impact of poverty in the Upper East region of Ghana. Our products has also helped us to restore our environment. Next, please. Yeah, so this is the working session of ASIGE. While you come to in the northern part of Ghana, we are currently in 5 communities. So this is just via community, and the women are sitting under the tree. This is the women in one of the communities in the center, because we have a center now that we are accommodating over 500 women in that. Next. And we also have our products. We have the laundry basket. We have the baby skirt, the peg. We also have the shopping, the market basket for shopping. Next. And these ones are different lampshades that you can use to decorate your house. Next. Yes, that's the lampshades that is hanging in someone. And this is the raw material that I was talking about, the straw. Next. Yes, this is the pot basket that you can even put it in front of your door for decoration or even in your house. It's so wonderful. And we have our baskets that Ima Waxen, I know everyone here knows who Ima Waxen is using our basket with other people as well. And we also receive volunteers from overseas who come to work with us, and you see one of them there learning how to weave baskets. Next. Yeah, so this is our shorted products. We have so many of them, but this is just few. Thank you so much.
Namita, back to you.
Yeah, no, sorry that I interrupted Dorcas. I had actually heard her present earlier, and I remember thinking her baskets were gorgeous. Actually, all 4 examples did speak about the power of local, very context-specific solutions. But I was just wondering, particularly about scale, and you know, the examples you shared, Khalid. You know, for example, pest control, very local based vermicomposting ideas, plastic depositing you mentioned, rainwater harvesting. And then Kanika, you mentioned also how some of this, and everybody who knows a bit about India knows how women face really huge challenges just in terms of gender-based violence on streets. And so anything that allows this sort of safe mobility is quite a big solution. I wondered, to the two of you, I wanted to ask Khalid and Kanika, if you were to go back and redesign the initiative that you designed, and if you could upfront put in something which allowed you to go to scale, because Khalid, you mentioned one challenge about leadership succession when you work with youth. And Kanika, in your case, I wondered if coming up with this e-rickshaw model, you ran into issues of, enough production, spare parts, training women. I mean, I don't know what your key bottleneck was, but if you had to redesign it, what might be one or two things that you might do upfront to allow this to go to a higher scale like that?
Khalid, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. Yeah. Yep. So thanks, Namita. I think we always reflect back like what we did. One thing when I look at the experience, I feel that I redesign it again. In the co-creation process, I may like to have the other private sector businesses, government, be part of the design more. It is good that like we sometimes emphasize on human-centric. I would say like we emphasized on human-centric design here. Like young people should be leading the design, but I also feel that while emphasizing on that, we missed the sustainable part of it, like who would be there ultimately, the private sector businesses with whom they need to be linked, or the government who also need to support the whole initiatives. The dynamic in this part of the world, as you know, like if you bring all of them together, sometimes the voice of the young people, it goes down, like then you lose their voice altogether. So we rather try to bring their voice, but when they provide solutions, sometimes in the longer term, that may not be realistic, or that may not be linked to the larger private sector businesses. So we need to have a balance there, and we need to find that mechanism, like how we can do that. So if I redesign, I would like to have that engagement stronger, so that the solutions, the business solutions they are talking about, it can be vetted or validated by others at the beginning, not after doing things for some time and then creating some examples which may be frustrating for them even. So but doing that initially. So that's the thing.
Thanks, Namita, for the question. It's something that we're constantly thinking of. What would we do differently? And I'll respond specifically to this, to the e-rickshaw model, but also will address the larger question of scale that you've asked as well. So I think in this particular example, I would say that I wish we had bought the ecosystem, the business ecosystem in a little bit earlier. Also looked at perhaps opportunities that were tertiary or secondary enterprises that could have been established, including charging stations or batteries, or even some sort of sorry about that. Even some sort of maybe a smart system, so that you could literally this could have grown a little bit faster. I think that would definitely be something that we could have thought of. I think the second one I'd have to say is that we could have thought a little bit more about finance, specifically if you look at women being part of this, where you do have an asset in that sense, so making finance was easier, but we still went the traditional microfinance kind of a route. Whereas in this model, I think we could have been a little bit more creative, and we've done that in others. So I feel like these two factors could have also sort of helped us. One of the interesting things that happened in terms of scale was that the local state livelihood mission actually adopted a scheme after being inspired by some of these emerging women e-rickshaws, where they created a subsidy for it. But there comes the challenge as well, because it's not necessary that a subsidy scheme is going to address scale right away. So hence, mainstream finance, or how do you have creative ways in the mainstream finance, this, I think we could have thought a little bit more about it. To address the larger question of scale, I'd say that when we talk about scale in a program like this, which is about systems change, we look at scaling deep. So we've done a lot of work around how do you deepen the initiative, how do you deepen the impact, along with scaling up some of these prototypes that we've designed, as well as accelerating the learning. So maybe in Mirzapur or in Bundelkhand in India, it's all about mobility. That's the vehicle for empowerment. In South Africa, it might be completely something different. So what we've been trying to do is harvest a lot of the learnings to focus on the technique which can travel to these places, as opposed to necessarily just the recipe. So for us, that's what we would say is the trick for acceleration, or really scaling the initiative.
All right. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. I really wanted to maybe give the last voice to the youth innovators. So, Olivia, Dorcas, just before we finish, what maybe you could just summarize or give just one sentence of experience from what support was the most useful for you when you were creating your own companies. So what was the biggest support that you get that allowed you to move on with your innovation? Olivia, can I give voice to you?
Yeah, so one of the basic supports that has helped me to scale up this business within this short period is business supports. So I know that there are so many entrepreneurs that do not have access to getting a lawyer or an accountant to help you to organize your system. But during the Oxfam Work in Progress program, we had over 7 consultants that visited the factory. So some of them were in finance, some of them were in strategy, in different consultants, and this was amazing. Especially the HR person, came in. I was able to practically talk to the staff, so they aren't hearing that there's something that they need to do somewhere or whatever. So it was more practical. The business support was more practical. And then most importantly about the Oxfam Work in Progress is that they didn't just train the entrepreneur. They also trained, we had about 5 different staff from different units that went for that program. So when you go for the program and come back, definitely your ideology, your perception about the work you're doing will definitely change. So I think business support was one of the biggest things that helped us to accelerate. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dorcas, maybe you can give the final word before we finish.
Thank you so much. I think one of the biggest support that keeps us going till today is mentorship. Yes, I'm lucky and happy to have Comfort because they sponsored my tertiary education. So they have a mentorship program that we go for training yearly, quarterly. So we go to meet speakers and other entrepreneurship that comes out with inspirational messages to mentor us, and through that I was able to keep going. Though we started with no funding, we started with no structure, nothing, but because of the programs that I've attended with Comfort, I've been able to make it till now. So mentorship is key thing. And what I would say is that I'm urging every individual outside there, whosoever is going to create jobs, that we should take our environment as priority, because when creating jobs without thinking about the environment, one day if our environment is lost, that means we wouldn't have life. So I would encourage everyone to take into consideration when creating job on our environment. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so thank you. I would really like to thank all the speakers. We a little bit exceeded the time for the webinar, but I think it was worth it. The recording of the webinar will be available online within 1-2 days, together with all the slides and presentations. So once again, thank you very much for for the speakers and for the participants in taking part in this webinar. Thank you.